Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the International Talent Attraction Day that we're hosting at the Institute of Marine Sciences in Barcelona and as well the Spanish National Research Council. Before we start with the first speaker, I would like to remind you that there is going to be a Q&A section at the end, and that you can all leave your questions or comments on the YouTube chat and commentaries for those of you that are connected online. That being said, I would like to welcome the first speaker, Valentí Sallarès, who is the director of the Institute of Marine Sciences. Welcome.
Okay, thank you very much, Clara, and thank you all the people that attend this session today here. And we hope that will be fruitful and helpful for you. And we will try to give a view of who we are, what we do, and why it is interesting for you. It could be good for you to come to this institute. Okay, the first thing to say is that we work under the motto of Ocean Science for a Healthy Planet. So we are committed to perform excellent science, but at the same time, we really want to do this science that helps to make our planet better. The first thing to say is that we are the Institute de Ciencias del Mar, Institute of Marine Sciences, which is the largest marine research center at the CSIC, the Spanish Research Council, and in Spain. I won't explain what the CSIC is, because the next talk will be about this, so you will have all the details about this institution, which is the largest research institution in Spain. The first thing to say is that we, the ICM, are the most multidisciplinary marine science hub in Spain. First, multidisciplinary, but we want to go to transdisciplinary. So we are trying to have projects in order to collaborate between people working in different disciplines. We have a lot of biologists here, but also physicists, mathematicians, chemists, geologists, and other fields of science. Okay? We have a leading role in Southern Europe and the Mediterranean region in terms of scientific output, what means that we are the Institute of Marine Research in the south of Europe, having the largest number of publications with the highest impact and having large projects and coordinating European projects. This is a purely scientific data. And for this and other things, we are the first and only marine research center that obtained the Severo Ochoa Center of Excellence accreditation, which is the most prestigious award in the Spanish research system. We have a quite participative way of working in our institute, and we try to really work bottom-up in many aspects of our organization. And one thing when we did bottom-up is to define our vision, our mission, and our values. I want just to say that our vision basically is to obtain a biodiverse, clean, healthy, productive, and safe ocean in the near future, and that we are contributors to obtain this. And the mission that has changed a little bit in the last few years is to generate meaningful, actionable, and inspiring knowledge. What do we mean by meaningful? Is to be able to produce a strong science in good journals with a large impact, participating in big consortia and doing big science and having very powerful projects. But at the same time, we want that this science that we produce is actionable, which means that it is used by the society on one side, but the administration to take decisions based on scientific evidence, and the second also to the private companies. And we work with them to improve in this aspect. But at the same time, we want that this knowledge is inspiring. What do we mean by inspiring? It's to reach the society, trying to change the way the society relates to the environment in general and to the ocean in particular. So we are having a number of programs, actions, and activities in order to improve of this. And always under the values of excellence in our work, commitment in what we do, and collaboration and inequality among all the people working in our organization. We have almost 75 years. Next year, we have our 75th anniversary, and we start as a fisheries institute close to here. You can see here in the left. In the year 51, there was an aquarium which was visitable by people, and one of the main alma mater of this institute is Ramon Margalef. Ramon Margalef is one of the most important scientists in Spain ever, and he was one of the directors of this institute. He is one of the fathers of the quantitative ecology, and a reference everywhere and in any step. Another thing important for us was that were scientists from this institute, in particular Josefina Castellví, Antoni Ballester, and Marta Estrada, who were impulsed all the Antarctic research program in Spain and the Antarctic base. And in 2001, we moved into this headquarters. And I must say that aside going with ships and taking data on the beaches and things like this, we also work in other kinds of, with other kinds of platforms. For example, there has been people in this institute leading missions of the European Space Agency. For example, the SMOS mission on soil moisture and ocean salinity was led by researchers from here, for example, basically Jordi Font. This is thanks to these things that in 2020 we got this award, the Severo Ochoa that I mentioned before, and after this there have been this a little bit transformation to be more social, not just excellent science, but this social aspect. We try to work quite a lot on the social aspect, and one particular thing that we did, important thing, is the creation of the Institut Català de Governança del Mar. It is co-governance with the regional government on fisheries and several aspects of marine policy. Our team, at the end of 2023, we were 3,039 persons, more women than men, even if there is the glass sailing, the glass sailing. But we have a number we are trying to transform this in a way, but the thing is that we have had a growth of more than over 100 people in the last 5 years. So we have been raising a lot, growing a lot, and we have the same space, so which means that we are being packed lately. So we are trying to get more space. In our organization, I won't go into the details of the organization, but I must say that we have a number of task forces. It's very important, this bottom-up work, and we have task forces in aspects like gender. There is quite a lot of work on gender. We have a gender equality plan, a gender task force, and that it's opening now to other aspects of inequalities that we have in our institution, not just the gender one. We have the Distintivo de Igualdad from CSIC from several years ago. We have another very powerful organized task force, which is the sustainability one. I talk here about functional sustainability of our institute, not about research, even if there are researchers that work on aspects of sustainability. And something that has come from a long time ago, it's our implication of marine science literacy, and we have organized groups that work hard on this. But the thing is that sustainability and inclusion are core values of our institution. There are also a number of organized collectives. If you arrive here, you are a technician, you are a young researcher, you have a collective in which you arrive and ask and collaborate with, so you can arrive and get these people to guide you when you arrive at our institution. Concerning our research, as I said before, we are committed to conduct excellent research to address environmental challenges, raise societal awareness, and advise policymakers in several aspects of our research. We organized, our research is organized basically in 3 broad overlapping challenges that frame and guide our research. Probably the the largest one in terms of the people that works on it is the life, is the conservation and sustainable use of marine life and ecosystems. This is one of them. They are overlapped, in fact. The second is climate. So we try to understand the interactions between the ocean and the climate, so the role the ocean plays on the climate and the climate change and things like this. And the last one is hazards, I would say mostly impacts, is the comprehension and mitigation of the anthropogenic and natural hazards on the ecosystems, but also on the society and infrastructures. There are a number of research lines that play a role here. Some of them are not just from one of the challenges, but on several of them. And this work is done by a number of research groups. Right now we are 14. There are a couple more that are being formed and organized in 4 departments: marine biology, physical oceanography, renewable resources, and geosciences. But these 14 research groups that you can see here, they map that way into the 3 challenges, so that the groups we are more in the center, means that they contribute equally to the 3 challenges, and there are other groups which are more specialized in one or other of these challenges. I won't go into the details of the research lines, but there are many projects and things going on and collaborations between them. Also, aside of these research groups working on science, we have a number of scientific technical services which are shared by many of the research groups, and on environmental monitoring, marine cultures, marine analysis, computing and data collections, among other things. Concerning the scientific output, I won't go into the general figures, but just to say that year after year, we are the Marine Research Center in Southern Europe having the largest nature index, which is a selection of the most prestigious journals in our field of research. And you can see here a comparison of our group with the other groups, our institute with other institutes in the Mediterranean and Southern Europe area. Concerning funding, we have been raising our funding, and for example, the total value of projects awarded in 2013 was of almost 19 million, putting aside the basal money that we have from VAIC, from our salaries and this, okay? But as I said, we are in a phase of transformation in which we want to go from a pure research excellence to have more and more social commitment. And for this, in the last few years, we have made 3 structural programs in our institute. One is ICM transfer, to foster knowledge transfer through private sector and the public administration. ICM Divulga, that has been here for a while, to promote outreach, education, citizen science, and art and sciences. And the other one that I won't talk about because it will be presented afterwards is ICM Cares, to improve the work environment and talent development and attraction. Concerning ICM transfer, just to say that we try to foster the transition towards a more sustainable socioeconomic system in the field of blue economy. And we have a portfolio with 4 main axes. One is the sustainability of renewable resources. We collaborate with administration and with companies on this, also in the observation and modeling of ocean and climate, in the health of marine ecosystems, marine protected areas and these kind of things, and the protection and the dynamic of the coastal environment. The thing that I mentioned before, this organization with the regional government for the co-governance of the sea, it's basically on the 2 first axes. I won't go into the details. If you want more details, I can explain you. We have quite a lot of international activity, mainly on the axis of the UN's decade and also in Horizon Europe. Okay, we have been quite successful in Horizon Europe, participating in a large number of projects, but basically coordinating six European projects. And in the UN decade, we are coordinating a structural program, which is called Ocean Cities. We have been coordinators of a community of practice. We were one of the organizers of the Barcelona Ocean Decade Conference in 2024, and now we are the basic scientific partners of the Barcelona's Decade Collaborative Center on Blue Economy that has been proposed by the city to the UNESCO, and now it's being evaluated. If it goes on, we will be the main scientific partners in order to be sure that the blue label is given only to projects that are really sustainable. This would be our role. And concerning ICM Divulga, it has been there for 25 years to promote ocean literacy on outreach, education, public engagement, and also science and art. Here we have the timeline. I won't go into the details. We can explain there, but we have a lot of activity. We have a lot of activity with collectives, with the society, and with the neighbor at very different levels. And our aspiration is to go beyond it. And for this, we have created a program for marine knowledge transfer, training, community engagement, and art. We are trying to do this by a program, but our aspiration is to have a place in which developing this program, open science, open to the public. Basically, and I finish with this, okay? This would be a living lab for ocean exploration and citizen participation on the topics of the general one would be trying to reach this goal that we have, that we all share is the planetary well-being, and in our particular case, one of the key points on the planetary well-being is the ocean health. We have to combine that, we have to reach it, that this is compatible with the development of our society. The second is that we have challenges to reach this goal, which are the planetary limits, and in particular, for example, the climate emergency, among others. And how do we know that there are these limits? How do we know that we have to, what we have to do, and which is the situation? Because of the values of science, we have to say that this is the key of everything. We have to work to combine that the science is what allows us to understand all this and to know what to do. And the access that we will develop will be the marine culture, programs like the Spirit program, debates and conference, the more related to outreach, transfer and blue economy with technical workshops, marketplaces, participation and territory, mostly with the citizen science actions, but not only, co-creation with the people around us. And finally, one which is growing very strongly is new narratives, our relationship with artistic centers. For example, the Opera in Barcelona wants to work with us. Thyssen-Bornemisza Museum is coming here because they want to guide us, among other people. And we are trying to set all this into an open space. We'll see if we reach it. We have the opportunity to do it. And I will finish with a video to explain all this.
What do you think about when you think of the sea? Maybe about how peaceful it is, or perhaps about something that fascinates you, that really stirs your imagination. Or perhaps you just think about a vast stretch of blue with an eternal breeze, or a smell. Or maybe it conjures up all kinds of memories. For some, it's an idea, a great mystery. But for us, it's a great story to tell. The story of how life finds a way, even thousands of meters deep. A story about tides, underwater currents, and unexplored depths. A story of how, on our planet, everything's connected. A story about us and what we're able to do together. And what we're still not able to do. A story whose ending has yet to be written, told from the shores of the Mediterranean, full of magic, and every day, a bit more exciting. What do you think about when you think of the sea?
Thank you, Valentin, for this insightful presentation. And I would like now to welcome Isabel Diaz, who is the Deputy Vice President of Cooperation and Internationalization at the Spanish National Research Council.
Thank you very much. Can you hear me well there? Sí, ¿no? Damos por hecho que sí. Good. Thank you very much, Valentin and colleagues from the Instituto de Ciencias del Mar for inviting us. It is always a pleasure coming here. And I don't know if you know, those of you abroad, but Instituto de Ciencias del Mar is just across the ocean. So it is really, some of us coming from Madrid, we barely see the ocean. So when we come here, you know, we feel air, we feel oxygen, we feel happy. That is just the location. Then you come inside the institute and you always feel welcome and overwhelmed by excellent science. So congratulations, Valentin, on the Severo Ochoa Award and on the leading position of your institute in the area of marine science, because it has to be said that IEO, Instituto Español de Oceanografía, by the way, you should include /guión, CSIC, so they don't forget the CSIC. Yeah? So when we absorbed, or we were forced to take inside the EAO, okay, we thought we having the government advisory in terms of marine science. But then, thanks to the activity of the Instituto de Ciencias del Mar and this human touch, this community has been able to embrace this EAO institute, who was not part of the CSIC. And they made them feel part of the CSIC. So in fact, you have grouped now 5 institutes in marine sciences. And us, as the central headquarters of the CSIC, when we talk to you or we talk to EAO, we know we're talking to the entire community, because you're acting as a leading a part in these marine sciences. And for that, I thank you on behalf of the presidency. It is funny, I took some notes from your speech so that I don't forget to mention that in the gender equity activities of Silvia Donoso, who is also in the room, is incredible. Not only you got the award, you were the first ones getting a European project in gender equity to implement the GEP, Gender Equality Plan, and that also contributed on us as an institution. We got the European Union Gender Equity Champions Award. The president went to Brussels last week and collected the award on behalf of the organization. So I also want to thank you for this activity, Silvia, and the Institute, because it is part of your activity that also empowered the institutional mission on gender equity. And it's funny that you mentioned a lot of the social impact, because it is part of this presidency team to mainstream social science in everything we do. And it's, of course, that we believe in it, but also Europe is claiming for it. I mean, if you want to be successful in a European framework, you do have to mainstream social science. But it makes sense. I mean, I'm a chemist. I know atoms. That's what all I do for a living. 25 years looking at atoms in a microscope. I don't know how to calculate a social impact. I don't know how to do questionnaires. In my own research, I've made mistakes because I don't know how to ask questions and who to ask. And for that, I need a social science scientist. As simple as that. So being aware of your weaknesses makes you stronger because you team up with the right people. So that is what you're doing with this type of work. And again, congratulations for this approach. And I'm not going to talk about the mission because it's pretty much what Valentin has said. CSIC has the same values and missions that Instituto de Ciencias del Mar, or vice versa, so we are well aligned. So what I'm coming to show you today is just a glance of what the CSIC is and what we do in our International Affairs Vice Presidency and how we can help you, those of you abroad, in coming to CSIC or to Instituto de Ciencias del Mar in a more kind of, how you say, suave, it's smooth, thank you, in a smoother way. But like I said, first is the ocean, then the people of the Institute, then we are here to help, yeah? So let me just remind you, CSIC is part of the Ministry of Science and Innovation, right? We are an agency, but we have limited independence, right? We belong to a ministry that acts as an umbrella to us, which are research performing organizations, organismos públicos de investigación, ¿vale? We are 4 of us, Instituto de Salud Carlos III, Instituto Astrofísico de Canarias, CIEMAT, y CSIC. This is not simple, because Instituto de Salud Carlos III does only health. So the ministry, when they want to do health, they talk to them. Instituto de Astrofísica de Canarias, they work on space. So the ministry talks to them when they want to talk to the space. CIEMAT, energy, the same thing. What happens is in CSIC we do everything. So what do the ministry do? Do they talk to us on everything? Well, that's where we the Madrid, the Central, we work on it. We really want to be the support of the ministry in whatever they may need. It's not an easy task, but we are the largest. Sometimes that is a good and bad, right? But that's where we are. We also included in 2021 the 2 Centros Nacionales, national centers, where, I mean, they were based, hanging from other ministries. Now they are hanging under us and then under the Ministry of Science and Innovation. Like I said before, this process has been a bumpy road, but we're kind of comfortable now with the Ocean Institute, Agriculture Institute, and Geomining Institute being part of us. These are numbers. Yeah, we are a gender balanced institution, but like you said, we are gender balanced, but not at every level. We are gender balanced when we count number of men and number of women, but the truth is, in the higher positions, there is always less women. And it happens. And it's a fact. I have my own theories, because it always happens at a certain age. It's not motherhood what hinders us. It's later on. And now that I'm later on, I can have an idea on why. But anyway, also financial data, the same as you, Valenti. CSIC is half, I would say nowadays, because of the frozen national budget, less than 50. We are in the 42% of the total money of CSIC comes from the government. With that, we pay salaries, and a little bit more, but very little bit more, right? So 60% of the budget, the running cost of CSIC, comes from your projects. We all say, I'm a researcher, colleagues. I mean, 3 years ago, I was in my institute saying, oh, CSIC takes 21% of every project. Well, now I understand why. If you want us to support you with our small help, we need to get funding from somewhere. So it is you that makes CSIC better with your projects. And it's our duty, we are facilitators, and bringing the money back to you in terms of, also in a way of tools, small tools that helps you internationalize yourselves, okay? We are 124 research institutes in every region in Spain. Whatever you can think about, we have an institute, sometimes alone, sometimes mixed with the universities, but we are everywhere. We also have delegations in every community that acts as a representative of the president in a community. And we also have an office in Brussels that is your home, by the way. We are owners of the building, so whenever you need the Brussels office is there for you. And we also have an office in Rome, an institute in Rome, and some other people in Grenoble, in the synchrotron facilities. This is the structure of CSIC. I just brought it because I remember when I was a researcher, you know, the main presidency is far away from us. So I decided to bring it so you know that we are making an effort to work on our scientific agenda, our relations with institutions, our international prospection, and nowadays, innovation and transfer. This used to be a deputy vice presidency, now is brought up to a first vice president. That's the effort of this presidency team to empower social and transfer impact. And then we have our Secretario General. Within the International Relations Office, we have two main areas, Mónica Martín Lanuza and Guillermo San Juan Benito. They are area coordinators. Well, it's very simple. Guillermo, this area in green, they do the job of facilitating the international opportunities for you, not only Horizon Europe, but any other call in the international scenario that you may be interested in. And Mónica is the unit that handles the legal unit and the internal calls. So, in summary, Guillermo's unit takes the money in, Mónica's unit uses the money out. That's basically how it works. Then we have Brussels, and then we have me or the Deputy Vice Presidency with currently a group of people working on strategy, scientific diplomacy. Then Alberto, we always say Welcome International Unit is only one person, and it's Alberto with us today, and the newly created Oficina de Grandes Infraestructuras, Research Infrastructure Office, that is something that also falls into my duties. Just to brag a little bit for those of you that are abroad, now, actually we are now the third research institution, research performing institution in terms of collecting funds in Europe, and we are the sixth in the total world. So we are attractive, for sure, because we are the largest research organization in Spain. We also, from our vice president, we have small calls. They are very modest. This is called seed money, so you can create partnerships with people all over the world. In case of E-Link, the aim of E-Link is to prepare a consortia for a European project. That's the target of this call. And these other three, ICOP, bilaterals, or Link Global, are to create different networks. In case of ICOP, is with countries in the developing countries. It has to be a country recorded in the Ayuda Cooperación al Desarrollo, sorry, in English, cooperation funds, yeah? And Link Global also specific in Latin America. And bilateral calls are those with another institution that is willing to pitch in some money to pay people to do bilateral agreements. That takes us to collaborate with pretty much anyone in the world, whoever you are interested in. We can create a bond. We are everywhere pretty much in Africa, Latin America, and of course in Europe. And Australia, we're working on it, okay? We're not afraid of creating agreements, convenios. We have a legal unit. It may take long, it's true. Spain is a very intricate system of legal layers, but we make it happen. So whatever you may need, we are there for you and we make it happen. In terms of scientific diplomacy, I'm sorry, Nacho's picture is not coming out well. We are lucky now, we have a diplomat in our team, Nacho Equino. He is a diplomat. And we have learned with him how to communicate with diplomats, because scientists, we are atomists, right? I mean, I look at atoms. They are generalists. They know how to move around with a broad view of everything. They need us, but we need them. Because if we want to reinforce our international cooperation or our social vision, they have a better vision than we do. So science diplomacy, what can science do for diplomacy? To me, is very obvious. We just give them a new language. We give them tools to go there to the embassies or to go there to the Foreign Affairs Institute and talk about science and put it in their agendas and do what they call soft diplomacy. When they don't want to talk about the war next door, they talk about a telescope. And that is an easy talk that brings them to smoothen their relationships and get something out of it. But on top of that, science, as you see in the news nowadays, is geopolitics. Why Trump wants to get Antarctica and Ukraine? Because of raw materials. And why does Trump know that raw materials are there? Because scientists have done their job before. So science is indeed a tool for diplomacy. What do we do at CSIC to take advantages of this? We place in ourselves, I'm sorry, the slides are in Spanish, I just realized, I'm so sorry. But I'm saying it in English. We're doing our strategy in putting ourselves in the forum, in the consortia where science diplomacy is there, not only in our Ministerio de Asuntos Exteriores, but also in the European Union Science Diplomacy Alliance. Okay? And because Instituto de Ciencias del Mar has one of the vice directors working on diplomacy, yeah. Marco told me when we announced that we are, thank you for reading the email, because, you know, when we send emails to all the directors, not everybody reads it and not everybody replies. Well, Marco replied saying, thank you for joining the European Union Science Diplomacy Alliance, and thanks to that, we are in a good collaboration, and we count on the Instituto de Ciencias del Mar to spread our positioning in at least in the alliance, and more things are yet to come, Marco. We are also working in the HR4. It's an excellent science in human resources, right? So CSIC got the seal, international seal of excellency in human resources, even though you don't believe it, because internally we all say that human resources in general at CSIC in Spain is not an easy job, it's not an easy task. But again, we do our best and we make things happen. But it has to be said, it has to be said. It has to be said. We can't hide our weaknesses, because if we hide our weaknesses, we pretend, and we don't want to pretend. We want to be attractive, and being attractive means being honest. You tell the good and you tell the bad. That's the way I see it. What else do we do in diplomacy? We do a lot of training. We don't know what is diplomacy, and diplomats don't know what is science. So we are bombarding the diplomats and the foreign affairs people with courses and training about science. There is one training, we call it Science in Geopolitics, where oceans is 1 hour. So oceans is indeed a tool for diplomacy. So we do training both ways. And I just want to mention briefly our latest achievement in science diplomacy. We created an alliance, European Research Alliance for Sustainable Development, with some institutions working in Africa and Latin America, because European funds are well placed, well located, and well articulated. But we are missing a lot of funds from all the places all over the world that are somehow misplaced within Europe. So we are working with other institutions that have offices all over the world. We don't have offices, but we have people, very good people, all over the world. So we're telling the Dirección General de Internacionalización in Europe, we're telling them, you don't know what to do with the rest of the money? Talk to us. We tell you what to do with it. So for that, we join efforts with several institutions, and we already invited in Brussels to several other forums different than DGRTD. Then our Oficina de Grandes Infraestructuras, the large infrastructure office, is recently created with Sandra as a nexus of the national and international. In the international is Almudena Carrero. Our job here, and I brought this deliberately because Instituto de Ciencias del Mar has the potential to be leading institute in the participation in some of the research infrastructure where the CSIC is not there yet. Okay, I see here Jaume in the citizen science infrastructure. We are working together and pushing it to a real infrastructure. We believe that this is extremely useful, not only in marine studies, but in other research areas where Jaume's projects can be expanded and create cross-cutting science projects, but also EMRC, those infrastructure related to ocean where we don't have leaders, and I believe in this institute we will find leaders for this. These are the infrastructures where we are. This is the only one in ocean, Euroargo. Hopefully in the future there will be more. And there's one I wanted to bring to your attention, because probably this is particle physics, kilómetro cúbico. This is please type it in online, KM3net. This is a neutrino detector under the ocean. This is the potential. This is the potential for you and for many other interactive or cross-cutting research scientists. Kilómetro cúbico. I find it fascinating. It was in the news lately. It's a huge detector for neutrinos under the ocean. I would like to know, what is the impact of that infrastructure to the actual ocean? especially the heat. But anyway, you will probably let me know. And this is just the last 2 slides. We came here to attract talent. Those of you abroad, I hope I have convinced you that we are attractive. I mean, we are the place to do science in Spain. I'm not saying you can't go anywhere else, but if you have to choose CSIC and choose Instituto de Ciencias del Mar. But we will help you. You're not alone. We have created the Welcome International Talent Unit. Nowadays, it's only one person, but he's quite efficient, and he's extremely helpful. In fact, when we created the office, we had, these big ambitions. So we're going to do, big events, calling people here and there. And then we realized that we're very useful in visas, equivalencias, and very practical information. So Alberto spent a year preparing what we call the landing package. Llegar al CSIC. It took him a year to collect the necessary information. I'm sure that we left things out, so please, if you go through it and you find something missing, please let us know. But it's been an enormous, and he's also part of the Comisión Interministerial de Visados, so he has now the right contacts in la Policía Nacional to get appointments, and we have a direct call to embassies to get visas, useful things. That creates a lot of problems for those of you abroad coming to Spain. What do? Well, we offer support, advice to technical and management. He also has the capacity in placing you or getting you in touch with the right person within CSIC, because it's not always easy who to write, and you don't always get a quick reply from those emails. So Alberto is the person to contact. He will guide you to the right unit within CSIC. He can also help in, I think it's in the next slide, yeah. He can also help in finding the right institute. Let's say you want to come to CSIC and you don't want to live in Barcelona, for instance, which I don't understand why, but you don't want to live in Barcelona and then you want to live, I don't know, Castellón. So he will help you in contacting the director of the institute and finding the right place for you. We can't guarantee the job because we're a public entity and you have to go for a national interview. But we can guide you in looking for the opportunities, and that's what we do. And now, just to end, let me click here on the landing package so I can show you. Let me see if it works. It should work, yeah? A ver. Ya está. Got it. Please, those of you online, are you following me in opening the web of the... It's loading. Anyway, even if I don't get to show you how the landing package looks like, just type landing. See? Good. So that is yes that you see it, or is yes that they see it? They see it. Good. Very good. So spend a few minutes in browsing. We have it in English, but we also have it in Spanish. If you go top here, it's English or Spanish, okay? Let me keep it in English because we're talking in English. And then you go down here. First you have Alberto's email, wit@csic.es. And then if you go down, you see documentation required in Spain. You click here and you start getting your checklist. Before you arrive, after arrive, compilation of important documents. When you click on each of them, you get how to get the NIE, how to get the electronic certificate. Even some of us that are not foreigners, we need this to advise us on how to get the electronic certificate. Travel documentation and installation. Well, again, we can't get you school for your kids, but we can help you in where and how to look for the right school in your new place where you're going to live, okay? Entry, some other, it's a lot of information. Like I said, it took you almost a year, Alberto, no, to prepare this. Then working at CSIC, here it gives you the job openings, what we call M2, what we call M3, small tips that will help you navigate. And then, of course, the government openings, las oposiciones. Basic information. Well, like I said, this is not something that I can present in 5 minutes, but you can browse, come on, Social Security, taxes. There's a lot of information here that is needed to be taught. I'm sure we can improve it, because I know that in ICM you have made a big effort in developing something similar. But you only tackled 339, if I remember well. We tried to tackle 16,000 people, and any friend of those 16,000 that is willing to join us. And I think with this, I go back to my presentation. Let me go back here. And like I said, we help you search for the right place at CSIC. And with that, I thank you for your attention. And we are at your need. Okay? Thank you very much.
Gemma?
Thank you very much, Isabel. I think it was clear for everyone that CSIC is the place to be, and here in Spain to do research. Before we welcome the next speaker, I would like to remind to everyone who is joining us online that there's going to be a Q&A at the end, and that you can leave your questions on the YouTube chat or comment section. And yeah, we will answer them later on. So our next speaker is Stefano Marinelli, and he's part of the talent office here at the Institute of Marine Sciences. Welcome, Stefano.
Thank you, Clara. Thank you, Valenti and Isabel. So it's my round, and I'm going to share with you this initiative that we call ICM Cares. We are working on it since 2021. And it is like an alive, let me say, an alive initiative. And first of all, just let me spend a few words about who we are. We are the Talent Attraction, Development and Work Environment Unit, and we are part of a bigger unit, and that is the Research Support Office. You can find here, there are these circles, and there are a lot of support that we can offer people that are going to join our institution. We are going to help you in the internationalization, in the science transfer. We are going to help you in the pre-award and the post-award of the projects. There is a lot of work made by our colleagues. And there are also a lot of work and help in the communication and the outreach of the science, as well as also Isabel and Valenti mentioned before. We are like, I think we have a very, very strong group inside the institution about the gender equality and diversity. They did a lot of work. We have a gender equality plan that was developed by the Equality Task Force. And at the end, we are going to speak about these talent attraction, development, and work environment units. And so about what we can do for you guys if you join our institutes. And so just to have our face, this is mine, this is Stefano, the other one is Gemma, she is going to speak some later on. Here you have like a general email that we receive both. And let me start with the explanation about the ICM Cares. And let me say that it is like, we say that it's an institutional landmark commitment since, it's not about people first, but, let me say the most important active that we have inside our institute are people. And so what was decided by the direction is to implement this initiative that is oriented to guarantee a high-quality work environment and continuous attention to people's needs. And so this is, let me say, the mantra of the ICM Cares. And how is it developed? I told you at the beginning, it is a continuous improvement approach to these ICM Cares. So the idea is to develop resources, different kind of, yeah? And the idea is to nurture our talent even before they join the institute. So in this part of attraction, what we are going to do is, let people know the ICM abroad, also in our country, Spain. So this action is one more action for attracting people to the ICM. And so from the very beginning, even before, to even the end of the relationship of an employee with the ICM. When they leave, even we would like to know more of them and to maintain in some way a relationship with people that have spent a part of their career in our institution. And so what we thought it was to use this as an approach of human resources, the employee life cycle. And there are different stages. There is the attraction and recruiting, onboarding, development, engagement, and motivation, and offboarding. So what I'm going to share with you is what we have done so far, which kind of resources we have developed in each of these 5 stages. So the first of them is the attraction and recruiting. So on the one hand, there are actions like the nowadays one, in which we try to make, let me say, like marketing of our institute and let people know about it. And so we can do in different ways. I mean, we have a relationship with the university, more local ones in which we go. And there are some fairs in which, we can speak with students, explain the science that we do inside our institution, but even webinars like today or participation in congresses and something like that. Once the person, the newcomer, is identified in some way, there is the recruiting stage in which there are, depending on which kind of a relationship the fellow is going to have with the ICM, with the CSIC, there are different things that we have to do because I can tell you since now that there are different ways to join the institute. On the one hand, there are projects that they have a need, so they publish like in the industry like a job offer, and these job offers go through a job bank, and I'm going to explain a little bit later on about it. Or there is another way to join the institution, it is through competitive grants, and we are quite active in this way. And so let me just go through these resources. As I told you, from talent unit, we participate in these talent hunting events. And my colleague Gemma, just in a few weeks, she's going to participate in the Oslo 2025. And so also there, we will try to make our best to let the ICM know to potential newcomers. We give a lot of support, and later on Alberto and Gemma are going to speak more about this, to these competitive calls that can allow you to be awarded by a grant. If you have a grant, you have the possibility to develop and work on your grant inside our institutes. So here, it's a part of it. So there are different, here there is a very short summary of them. Even for students of master or bachelor, there are some grants that are offered by the CSIC. From there, from PhD students, there are other kind of grants. And for postdocs in a different stage of their career, there are as well more of them. I'm not going to speak about them because my colleagues are going to explain you more later on. We have in this last year and also this year, this project ICM Intro that is, let me say, allow us to be even more, even stronger in order to offer a full package of options to newcomers. Even by this project that we are trying to make a renewal this year, we can offer some help if you are abroad for moving to here. So if you have to move your goods or you have to make, you have to contract a removal company and so on, we can even help you in this way. And there are more helps that people interested can contact us and we can explain longer. And in the hiring stage, there are a lot of work that we do by our units. There is this job vacancies management. We give support to candidates for the job bank. There is a global VAIC job bank for all the 120 more institutions that are linked to the VAIC. We can help candidates in preparing, for example, their application to the competitive fellowships. Even we help on demand this, if require, PIs when they have to make interviews for job offer and so on. And there are a lot of also resources like documents, like guidelines for doing, for example, the registration in the VAIC job bank, for make like also Isabel and Alberto is going to help to make these doctoral degree equivalents, immigration procedures, and we are almost ready to launch a document, this dossier Living in Barcelona, in which we explain all you have to know in case of you are coming to Barcelona. And the second stage is the onboarding. The onboarding, the same word is self-explicative. We struggle to make you feel part of this institution even before you sign your contract. So all these communication that we have with the new fellows, it's very important even before you sign your contract. And so, I'm going ahead in the presentation. The most important activity that we do about the onboarding are these institutional welcome meetings, that they are usually 3 or 4 in a year. So it's a very great opportunity for you guys, if you join the ICM, to know our direction, our general management, and to understand a little bit more about the strategy of the ICM, about the science, and to know even more about internal procedures, because there are a lot of, when you start to work in a new company, you have to know the way of working on this company. So there is a first approach to all this information. And it is, of course, for all the people that are joining the ICM, higher people or people with grants or public servants or people that are here for an internship. It's like for people. As well, we developed these welcome packs that are documents with, let me say, a lot of information, a lot of links, but, it's like try to condense just in a paper, or maybe now I think it's like 3 pages, since every time there are more information. So it's over there. And even about the operations of the ICM, we are going to develop these video clips. We have already some of them in which everything is explained, and we are going to make more and more. And about the development, we want to attract new talent, we want to welcome new talent, we want to help new talent to develop their career and develop their skills inside our institution. So there are different initiatives to do that. And so we have, in adds to the VAIC, Global VAIC training plan, we have also an internal ICM training plan in which we detected all the needs that people have, let me say transversal needs, common needs that people have in their day-to-day activity. And so this is the 4th year we prepared this plan. It's open to all the people. Sometimes some training is more focused on a different collective or a group you belong to. Anyway, there is an internal training plan. There is a program, Mentoring Marina, in which PhD can have like a mentor, a senior researcher that can help them in transversal topics of science. That's not a repetition on supervision of a doctoral thesis. Instead, it's one more help to stay inside this institution. And there is this initiative, it's a new one, these knowledge groups. We launched the knowledge group about data science and information technology last year. And the idea is to open more knowledge groups in which people can share their knowledge and can grow in a group way. And also, we offer help if you need to make your career development plan. There are some grants that it is mandatory, so there are people that call us and we can help in this task. And about engagement and motivation, we say engagement is a sense of purpose, belonging, commitment, and motivation is like the petrol, the willpower to do that. And so we divided this stage in two parts. One is policies, and the other one is actions. So let me share with you a little bit about this. So what we want to do when you are here, help you to feel part of this institution, help you to feel the spirit of belonging to the ICM, try to network more and more with people inside the institution. This is the idea of this. And at the same time, to set rules of common living, or living all together in this institution. And so there is this part, it is about policies, to guarantee a positive and engaging work environment for all the ICM staff. We already spoke, Isabel, Valentin, about this gender equality plan. Repeat, was defined by the ICM Equality Task Force, and it is like something that we can have a look to understand about gender equality, what we want, and the behavior that we want inside this institute. As well, by the CSIC, we had these protocols against sexual and gender-based harassment, as well against labor harassment. There are protocols that can be started in case of situations like that have to be reported to the direction of the ICM, and at the same time reported to the CSIC. And so if a protocol is started, there are different steps, and finally there is a final decision about what happens specifically for the event that was produced inside the institution. And by our unit, we developed and we defined like a procedure, internal procedure of the ICM, in which we try to address labor conflict, since nowadays sexual and gender-based harassment is always harassment. It's not like a conflict. So it's also by law is defined like harassment. But about labor conflict, the idea is to address and even prevent or address conflict in an early stage. And so there is this procedure in which we offer new people as well. If you face any problem, you can contact us. In this case, you can contact me. I can help you in dealing with your situation. And as well, these corporate values that were mentioned also by Valentin are like a framework for us. We want to do research of excellence. So every time that I do anything, I can think to the values, and I can ask myself, do I meet these values doing this or not? So maybe I have to reflect more and more. So it's research of excellence. There is commitment to people and to environment. The other one is equality in treatment and opportunities. And the last one is this collaboration, 360 collaboration by all the people of the ICM. And about actions, let me just share with you 3 of them. We have this initiative, ICM Socialize. It is like a space in which people can propose activities And the idea is that these activities are grouped once. I mean, are activities that can be done even after you finish your work time here. There are some of them can be made also in the working time. Examples, we have a choir inside here, and there are people that after time where they get out of the office, they go, we are the sea very nearby, they go for rowing, and there is a board games group, and so on. And they can even enjoy this. But the idea is, again, try to establish your relationship with people inside this institute. This offsite, we did an offsite. It means that we were a very big group of people in which we defined these values that I've shown you before. So it was like an exercise to stay all together and to work all the cooperative values of the ICM. And as there are these periodic contests in which people can share the science they do and can receive feedback, can make known themselves to the rest of the people of the institution. So it's another way to make you known and know more people. As well, there are different dynamics, meetings that we do with the ICM collectives about topics to interchange ideas, and even to understand if you are doing good or not that good practices. And there are also other initiatives that are not run by us, but we can we want to explain in these ICM cares. There is this technical collective career improvement plan that is by the technical collective, to work more for a better recognition of the work that they do inside the institution. There is this ICM Young Researchers Association. It is like a bottom-up association in which they do a lot of activities. As well, we are full coordinated with them, and it's another opportunity to join all these activities that we do inside ICM. And even we did once, and we want to do more, this employee satisfaction survey in order to understand, how people feel regarding policies, decisions, actions taken by the ICM direction, as well to understand, the climate of the organization. The last stage is the offboarding, when people have to leave the ICM since a grant is finished or you decided to develop more your career in another place. And so here there is the see you again. We have a lot of people that maybe they go 4 years abroad, and after that they come back again. So we offer these offboarding interviews in which you can tell us about your experience. It's very important for us to collect this feedback to improve more and more. There are training about, reposition yourself for industry. There are a lot of people that worked in, pure science during the years, and they want to switch to the industry. So we make this training in order to prepare a resume, to prepare a cover letter, or how to start a job search. There are sessions about how to find new grant opportunities. And again, this webinar is part of this webinar, is also oriented to this kind of help that we want to give people. And even last year, we organized this roundtable with professionals in the industry with the ICM postdocs, to understand that you can develop a science career of course in the research centers, but as well in the industry. And that's it from my side. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Stefano, for all your efforts into the ICM Cares program. I would like to introduce the following two speakers. We have Alberto Espin from the Welcome International Talent Office of the VAIC, and we also have Gemma Jimenez Papiol from the Talent Office here at the Institute of Marine Sciences. Welcome, both of you.
Good morning. I'm Alberto Espin, manager of the International Talent Attraction. First of all, let me apologize in advance. I don't feel very confident in English. In fact, it's my first public presentation. Well, today I'm going to present you the key points of the main goals for postdoctoral talent attraction at national, European, and private level related to different stages of the European scientific career, from year 1 to year 4, being year 1 more junior profile and year 4 senior. The aim is that in a few minutes per call you can get an idea about the different career development possibilities. In this first slide, we've got the Spanish and European funding opportunities. You can see Spanish funding, Juan de la Cierva, Ramón y Cajal, and Atrai, and in European funding opportunities, two types, European funding like MSCA, Marie Curie Post-Fellowship, and ERC grants in their three types of modalities, starting, consolidator, and advanced grants. And in the second slide, we've got private funding opportunities, the two calls of La Caixa, incoming and retaining, and Fundación Ramón Areces program for the return of talent. Okay, starting with the Spanish funding opportunities, we've got Juan de la Cierva grants. Juan de la Cierva grants are a first step in the postdoctoral researcher career, encouraging the incorporation of young researchers of any nationality in Spanish centers. They include 2 years of contract and an additional grant for research expenses like travel, conference, etc. But what's really important respect the evaluation? 1, curricular merits, and 2, scientific and technical record of the last 5 years of the research group where you want to join. Now I'm going to talk about Ramón y Cajal contract grants last call year, 2024. It's okay. Ramón y Cajal is one of the 2 most important calls in Spain for talent attraction of any nationality, with the objective of to reach skills for to obtain a permanent position. There's 3 types of reasons for to apply this call. 1, increase your salary researcher from the 3rd year. The totality of the years of contract is 5 years. If you see a slide, you've got all personal costs during the first 3 years and 4th and 5th year. 2 reasons. It has got 2 types of research expenses, a general one and a specific one for the foreign talent. In both cases, expenses can be used to 1, increase your researcher salary, maximum 20%, 2, research expenses again, travel, conference, etc. And 3, hiring personal support for the researcher's project. Finally, the most important reason. It's mandatory, a commitment to create a permanent position as a public employment or civil servant for your research profile. It's always before the end of the period action, and specifically as a tenure scientist. After I'll explain the meaning of tenure scientist. For this, after the 3rd year, you must obtain the R3 certificate from the Researcher State Agency IRC certificate is a type of document that it's a type of document that values your experience, knowledge, merits, independence, etc. Once done, you'll have 25% of the position reserved as long as you pass the selection process. Okay, I'm going to talk about ATRAI contract grants last year, 2024. ATRAI is, together with Ramón y Cajal, the other most important call in Spain for, in this case, established researchers of any nationality. Unlike Ramón y Cajal, is more focused, experienced researchers profile who has been in foreign research centers for at least 5 years. It's an excellent program for international talent attraction, especially for 2 reasons. First reason, high salary during the 3-4 years of the contract. In the slide, you've got the quantity, like direct costs and indirect costs. You will be able to direct your own project as a PI, including money for travel, research costs, hiring support, and material. And the second reason is creation of a permanent position in the researcher's field of knowledge before the end of period actions. If Ramón y Cajal corresponds to tenure scientist, ATRAI corresponds to researcher scientific or research professor. Okay, it's important to know that in Spanish science, we've got 3 types of scales scientific. In public employment, first one, tenure scientist, second one, research scientist, and the highest level, research professor. What is an established researcher? Well, you must meet one of these criterion to be in the top % in your research field, or to have at least an ERC grant, to possess the high academic and research level in your foreign country, or have led as PI as a significant number of projects. This is the information that is included in a call. It's difficult to know more, but if you want to know it, I give you an email below. You can write them. Okay, turning now for European calls, in this case, MSCA Post-Fellowship 2024, and ERC after. EFC Post-Fellowship is a program for mobility to Europe. It has got 2 modalities: European postdoctoral fellowships and global postdoctoral fellowships. First one, European postdoctoral fellowships, lasts between 12 and 24 months. It's for researchers of any nationality who move to a European Union country. And global postdoctoral fellowships last between 2 and 3 years of contract. It's for European Union researchers who move to third country and to return European Union country. Regarding requirements, PhD, to have PhD, maximum 8 years since title, and not have lived in the host country for more than 1 year in the last 3 years. Okay. So next program, finally, European funding opportunities, ERC, and the call 2025. There are the 3 types of modalities: starting grant, consolidator grant, and advanced grant. ERC grant, like you know, is the European Union program per excellence. It's for researchers with a great advantage, with a lot of years, with many years of experience, like in starting, consolidator, and advanced. Apart prestige and high economic retribution, the great advantage is the commitment of the CSIC, as in Ramón y Cajal and ATRAI, to create a permanent position, normally in the second and the third year of the contract. I don't want to speak more about this because we've got an international program service that they explain more information about this. At the end of the email, I give you contact. Regarding private funding opportunities, we've got Ramon Areces program, currently open. It's an excellent option for Spanish researchers to return talent, both in terms of salary and conditions. It's very similar to the trial program, and the contract is for 5 years, with a commitment to offer a permanent position as a public employment before the end of the period action always exceeds minimum conditions. You've got what does it include and what are the requirements. Between most important requirements, apart from Spanish nationality, it's important to have lived and worked in foreign research centers for at least 5 years. The selection will do depending on the impact of the project on Spanish society and scientific researcher career. If you see the slide, you've got contract duration and, for example, total funding. First year, you will obtain 40%, second and third year, 20%, and fourth and 5 years, 10%. The negative note is the reduced number of grants in 2025, total is 2. But my recommendation is that if you meet the requirements and have a good project, apply. Why can't you be one? Finally, the last 2 goals of La Caixa, incoming and retaining. Incoming call includes funding in science areas, life, physics, maths, etc., with a contract of 3 years in research centers with the with the category of excellence, for example, this institute, ICM. Between most important requirements, all nationalities can apply if they haven't lived in Spain for more than 1 year in the 3 years before closing call. Talking about total funding, you can see in the slide, total payment per year, minimum salary, quantity, research project cost, and interesting family allowance and mobility housing. Retaining call is very similar to incoming, same contract, nationality, same conditions, area of science, with 3 differences. One is for people who have lived in Spain for more than 1 year in the 3 years because closing call. That's a call for talent retention, and finally, it's not necessary to have the CSIC center with excellent category. And finally, you've got a comparative table with all the calls that I've talked today: Juan de la Cierva, Ramón y Cajal, Atrae, 7 calls. Number of grants, phase, nationality, and strengths. If you see the mainly features, you've got, for example, Juan de la Cierva is for first stage or first step. Ramón y Cajal is year 1, year 2 phase. Also, like La Caixa incoming or La Caixa retaining, they are in both level. In the same level, but for example, with the difference, Ramón y Cajal includes permanent position and a specific talent attraction modality with more money in this case. And La Caixa incoming and retaining, they have a permanent position, but for example, includes mobility allowance, mobility housing is interesting difference. And finally, Atrae and Ramón Areces are very similar programs. Total funding is okay, more or less the same, but both includes permanent positions, and Ramón Areces has got more funded, but it's very similar respect the conditions. Okay, I finish now. My colleague Gemma is going to talk to you about more opportunities. Thank you for all and for your attention.
Thank you, Alberto. Thank you, Alberto. Alberto has done a nice overview on all the public funding and even very interesting private funding from Spain and Europe. Here at ICM, since we are in Barcelona, we're also eligible for calls that are launched by the Catalan government. So that's the first two I will talk about very briefly, are very similar to their equivalents in Spain or in Europe. And also I would like to talk about some other calls that are less well known, but we wanted to give you a quite complete picture on all the funding opportunities that are available throughout the year. Beatriu de Pinós is the first call I would like to tell you about. Is more or less the equivalent to the Juan de la Cierva. Let's say it's for the young postdoctoral researchers. So it's not a permanent position, but it's a 3 years contract full-time. It's open to researchers, postdoctoral researchers of any nationality. And there's also some funding for support for doing research expenses. Here I put the requirements. As you can see, the whole doctoral degree, you have a very limited time for applying to this call. But this is because it aims for boosting the young postdoctoral researcher's career. On the other hand, on the opposite side, we have also the ICRIA call. It's also a Catalan call. But it is aimed for senior, let's say it's for established researchers, for senior researchers, and it also aims to create permanent positions in the Catalan research systems. So the interesting thing is that they include the commitment to create a permanent position, and you also have a quite interesting startup package for creating your research group or research line. They accept quite young postdoctoral researchers, but they need to have a relevant multinational exposure at predoctoral and postdoctoral level, and they should not hold a permanent position in the Catalan research system. Here I have a mistake. Prior to the deadline of the call. This 24 is not something relevant here. And the selection is a peer evaluation. These are the two main calls that can be interesting for you for coming to ICM. Other postdoctoral calls. I wanted to go briefly on this. The AXA Postdoctoral Fellowships, it's a private foundation who funds these postdoctoral fellowships. But the important thing here is that there's only one candidate per institution. So it means that ICM belongs to CSIC. It means that CSIC can only present one candidate in every call. So there's a pre-selection here. And also the requirements, well, you have them here, are more or less similar to any other early or young postdoctoral call. The AXA chairs, it's also funded by the AXA Foundation. Important here, one candidate per campaign. They only fund one candidate per campaign. And also the conditions are more interesting. It's also for senior researchers. And also they, as you can see here in the requirements, they aim at holders of a PhD of more than 10 years ago. So, and also demonstrate outstanding research achievements. So there's not many AXA chairs per year, actually only one, but the conditions are quite interesting. And similar for high chairs. High chairs actually it's a CSIC program, own program, and it also has the limited one candidate per campaign. I wanted to go through these three, and also this last one is an example of another kind of funding or fellowship opportunity that are related. This is an example, it's already closed, but sometimes we have some calls related to projects, in this case to the SAFE project. The SAFE project is now it's a pilot scheme funded by the European Union project, But the important thing is that they aim at risk researchers currently outside the European Union or already within the European Union. So these kind of calls are very framed and very focused on specific profiles. I wanted to go very briefly on these last 4 calls because, well, here we will share these slides, so you will have the links. We have added some slides with the links to the calls that Alberto already showed you and the ones I told you about. The important thing is all these calls appear throughout the year. We have different seasons. Now we are in March. You can see that the Beatriz de Pinos, Juan de la Cierva, and Ramón y Cajal are already closed. They usually are open at the end of the year. We go through Christmas, more or less, waiting for the call opening or the call conditions, and they close early on the year. And some other calls, like, where is it, Marie Curie, here it is, they will open soon in springtime. Some calls we can plan beforehand. We know more or less when they are open, and usually we rely on the previous call to know the conditions. They do not change that much. Some other calls are unexpected, like the one I've told you about the SAFE project, etc. Bottom line or take-home message, do not wait for the call to be open to start preparing this. And the first step for preparing this is what Stefano will tell you about in the next and final presentation before the questions and answers, is knowing where you're going and who is going to be your supervisor, your PI, or your, let's say, your contact point in your hosting institution that, in our case, it's ICM. So now, this is the last slide. Stefano? It's up to you. Puedes cambiar.
And so this is the last part of this webinar. And it will be a very short part, but I think it's maybe the most important is like a strategic approach to these competitive grants that our colleagues have explained before. And so I'm going to share you a couple of screenshots of our website. So the first of all is this. This is the ICM website. You can type easily ICM Instituto de Ciencias del Mar. You can get inside. You can choose the language, in this case English. And there is this first part is about ICM, research, service, transfer, news. Okay. So in news there is this box in which you can find job offers. Work with us. What's happened there? There are published 2 kinds of offers. One is normal job offer posting, in which there is a project that is searching for candidate to cover a position that is paid by the project. But as well, inside this box, if you just click, you can find the expression of interest for these grants that we have explained before. For example, nowadays, these are the open positions that you can find there. These positions are paid by project. There is a PhD position, there is another one that's for a project manager, a European project manager, that are published. These are the nowadays offers that are active in our webpage. But for example, to have a look and the way in which we advertise the expression of interest. For example, here you can find expression of interest, junior postdoctoral research to apply for the Juan de la Cierva. So there is like a PI that say, okay, I want to open this position before the call of Juan de la Cierva is opened, and make no people, make no fellows that we would open to to have like a fellow to develop a part of a postdoctoral career in our research group. But there are more. For example, here there are calls for candidates hosting offer for ICREA. You know, Gemma explained to you before about ICREA, so you get inside and you can find this information, you know, about, the call and what we are looking for, application procedures, where you have to send your proposal and so on. Even this is too late, since usually what we do is publish this expression of interest nearby the date in which the call is open. And so going back to the presentation, it is over here, what we really recommend you guys is to go to another branch of our website in which you can find this part of this research. And if you click over there, you will see that it is this Meet Our Scientists research groups. Over there, you know, remember what Valentin told you before. We had like these three main challenges in which we work inside the ICM. Just with a click, you can enter in all these research groups that are active inside the ICM, okay? And so what you can find there, we have an example. For example, this ecology of microbes. If I just click, you know, on this page, you can find information about the group. It's very high level, but what they do. You can find information about the group members. So if you click here, you can find people, just click and you can find their email, you can find more details about what they do inside the ICM. And so the idea and what we suggest, and there are even more information here. Show you. Publications, you know, projects, a lot of information, this idea. So we had to dive in, you had to understand more, and you had to propose yourself, propose what you want to do or what you wish to research to these people that are, in this case, in charge of this group, and start to speak with them early, like Gemma and Alberto told you before, early in advance, because preparing a very solid proposal for a competitive grant, it's, it's challenging, but it's possible to do it. And even, depending on the call for competitive grant, we can offer from the talent unit, talent development, attraction, development, work environment unit, we can offer the most, let me say, or the strongest or most powerful proposals. We can offer training, very good training. Every year we offer this training. It's not for all, of course, because there is like an internal selection that we do with all the proposals that we receive. But we offer a training. Even for the best one, we offer individual coaching sessions. It's free of cost in order to maximize your chance to be awarded by those grants. So again, do your best, contact early in advance with the research groups and explain them what you want to do. Start to make your networking, to meet scientists and try, to enter inside ICM with a competitive grant. And the last point is about these research lines interested in competitive postdocs. Again, it is like, let me say, it's just a snapshot. This is very variable during all the year because positions or interest in hosting competitive grants change over time. For example, this is a snapshot collected beginning of December. You can enter RISAI, you can check, you can see more into details the research area. you add the PI if you want to contact, the email, and so on. So this is like an exercise for beginning of December. Maybe in a couple of months or just 1 month, it will change since, needs are changing over time. Anyway, if you find any of these areas of your interest, again, contact directly with the PI to start your conversation and find out if there is any opportunity to develop a proposal for a competitive grant based on this research area. And going back to the presentation, that's all for the day from us. And so what I can say is time for questions. If there is any question, please type in the YouTube channel or hear from the audience. Otherwise, what we are going to do is to send you, maybe next week, the link to the presentations that we have given during the webinar, and also the link to the recorded session of the webinar. So I think that's no questions, Gemma? No? Okay, thanks all, and see you soon. See you soon at ICM. Bye-bye.